Hi, welcome. This is Belinda Brown with Equanimity Executive, and today we will have as a guest Eva Guez Cooper, Director of Leisure at Hilton and the President of Unique Lifestyle Experience. And today she will, share with us in the Woman Empowered series her passion, and she will also tell us how her life is going today. So welcome, Eva. How are you doing?
Thank you. Good afternoon. Yes, excellent. I'm doing excellent.
Okay.
As you said, I'm a director of leisure sales for the Hilton and the Waldorf Astoria here in Orlando, in Bonnet Creek. And on the side, I'm living my passion because I created unique lifestyle experiences, which is really to follow a desire to create unique travel experiences and to focus on women's trip and on unique experiences at large.
Wow, this is, wonderful. I have, known you for a few years now, and I have, followed this transition where you just, decided that you wanted as well to be able to live your passion and really to connect with women. And I know that you are organizing several trips and travel for women in different parts of the world. And I know we talk about India a few months ago, and I think that you will, talk about this a little bit, later today. And I just want to ask you a little bit about how you did, end up living here in the U.S. because you are, French, and how you did end up living the life of your dream.
That's a great question. I've been living here for 18 years, and this country has given me great opportunities. I came with originally with my husband, my ex-husband now, who's American. And when I look back at my 20 years in the travel industry and 18 years in the US, it's been a tremendous, growth and accomplishment and so on. I can probably say today that, I make 5 times what I was making when I came to this country, but this is also why this country is great, because you can go as far as you want to go. So living the life of my dream has been a lot of hard work, hard work and dedication, and also enjoyment in the great industry I work in, the travel industry. But also it's been great opportunities. I think we also attract the opportunities, we invest in the work and we invest ourselves, but I think also our outlook on life and create opportunities. For me, the coaching I did last year was a real breakthrough, because I think we go, especially in this country. We're taken in this it's a vicious circle of getting more, doing more, working more, buying more. And we don't realize we're doing it until we look back on 18 years like now and say, wow, how far have I come? The downside of that is that in the process we tend to just forget ourselves and forget what we're good at, what our passion is, why we're doing it, because we're just so for me the coaching was it was a big breakthrough, because number one, it taught me to know myself better. And I think when the more you know yourself, the easier you are on yourself. That has been the number one thing for me, because I was working like crazy. I've been always working so much to get up, get a promotion, sell more, earn more, but without taking a pause to look to do some introspection, and also with always this guilt feeling, on the back of my mind, and being so hard on myself if I didn't make these numbers, or if I didn't get to school on time, or if I didn't lose this weight. I was always so hard on myself. And I think I'm a perfectionist. I'm definitely I definitely push myself hard, but again, the coaching got me to understand myself better, and it's still going on. From when we worked last year to today, I'm still working on it. But I find that the more I know myself, the less hard I am on myself, which
This
is
is
great because when you're easier on yourself, you can enjoy, the 10, 12 hours a day you work. You can actually enjoy them more because you don't always feel like, instead of thinking of the day as, I've done 100 things, I should have done 150. I'm really happy with the 100 things I accomplished. So
that's
I think this was
wonderful.
a huge benefit of the coaching.
That's
Um,
wonderful, yeah, to hear you talking about, this, and because I know that most of my clients, and they are, mostly, women, are experiencing the same thing, saying that they always, focus on what they could do more instead of to focus of what they have already accomplished. And it has been a big part of the coaching process with women. It's that we tend as women to really want, to do everything, perfectly well and to be the best at everything.
right.
And we just, forget about ourselves, and we just, put ourselves on the side saying, okay, I will, take care of myself a little bit, later. And one day, like when we have, met, you mentioned that you had a project on your desk for almost a decade and saying, yeah, I know that there is, something that I want to do.
Yeah.
And we chat informally during, lunch, and you just mentioned, this, and I told you when or what, you do to be able to get to this, passion, because you were passionate about, your job at Hilton, and it's still the same today. But what can you
Yeah.
bring more into your life to enjoy these 10 to 12 hours that you are, putting every single day? And this is when you
Yeah.
decided, yeah, the next day you call me and say, okay, what's going on now?
Yeah.
What is next for me to be able to
Yeah.
make the transition in my life, to feel totally aligned with who I am, and to know myself a little bit, better, and to bring, more joy and more positive moment in my life, instead of to dragging myself, trying to accomplish more and more and more. Yeah.
Right. Absolutely. So, yeah. So then I created unique lifestyle experiences to um, to promote trips to India, and to really promote trip with I would say with an ulterior motive, really trips that impact your lifestyle, that impact your life, that will change you on the on the inside and the outside, and will touch you in so many ways. So women is a big focus for me, and I don't think I realized I wanted to do something for women so much before we started to talk, and we started to really work deep in the roots of where I wanted to go with my life.
Hmm.
But throughout the months, it came out more evident that you know uh, I felt that us as women, we have a big role to play, we have a big contribution, and we have a big responsibility for other women, to help other women. And a lot of women before us have, built the path, and we we follow that path, and we have the responsibility to do it with other women, because we're not a minority, but in the same time we're not judged, like men are judged. So this is inevitable, this is the reality. So for us as women, we don't have to try to be like men. I always say that, I've said that before. We don't have to pretend to be and act like them.
Hmm.
We need to use the strengths that we have as women, and what we bring to the table, because we're women. That's what make us strong. But we definitely have to create a path.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that, the environment in organization, it's changing a lot, where all the women that I'm, working with are telling me the same thing, that the path was already created. But I think what it's more complicated today. It's not about men not accepting or judging us, but it's also about, ourselves being so judgmental about our ability to succeed, and to pushing ourselves, too hard, that
Yeah.
we are creating, the issue. I think that it becomes something that has been self-imposed because history made this, really strong on us, saying that women have certainly difficulties to access some of the roles. But today you are an executive for Hilton and Waldorf Astoria. It works really well. So apparently the door is open, but you still wanted to do more and more and more and more. And you just, realized one day that you wanted to do things differently because it was draining your energy. And this is what I have, seen with most of my clients. They want to do something that will impact other people, that will make a difference in the world or in the life of only one person. And this is everything that counts. Yeah.
Right. I think because we're all also we're in a society and in a life now that especially for me, for women over 40, you feel like, okay, this is a tipping point. If I don't contribute in a way that's really fulfilling to me right now, whether it's charity or it's, doing things for women or doing the trips that will impact other people's life, if I don't do it now, I'm not going to do it, and we're very much, because of the society we're in, we very much feel like we need to do the thing, we need to live in the present more than ever before. Our parents were never in that mindset of, you only live once and you need to do all the things because they were more in a survival, society, I would say. But for us, and with all the means that we have and the financial independence, and we're in a different mindset, I would say. And having said that, I mean, to me, and I tell my daughter first, who's going to be 15 next week, and I tell young women all the time, for a woman to acquire a financial freedom is huge and it's necessary, and I can't recommend it enough. Because it's to have the to free your mind of having to depend on somebody, because again, for women, we've had many role models of depending on a husband or a life partner or whatever, but working at acquiring your own financial independence is key.
Yeah.
I think it's key to, period.
Yeah, this is this is where we live, on the pyramid of Maslow, where we need, the need for security. When you have, set, this, you can, have, the mind free to be able, to really connect to who you are, to be able, to really connect with other, people, and to trust that things, will get in the way that you want. I know that most of the women that I'm, working with are financially independent, and for those that can't be temporarily because they are going through a divorce or through different phase in their life, this is really more complicated for them because they have to think about the basic, meaning having a roof on their head, having the money coming in, and it's a big distraction. So this is really a great advice that you are providing here, and you have to build anywhere you are in the world, to build a little bit of independence and financial freedom, even if you want to rely on someone in your life, but still stay independent, because you never know what can happen, and it's the first thing that will distract you from who you are and to accomplish what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I'm not talking that every woman should go out and make a ton of money, but it's more about self-sufficiency. If when you're self-sufficient, it's a lot easier to focus on other areas of your life.
Yeah, definitely. So tell us now, Eva, what makes you a successful woman after all those years? And I know that you went, through different, stage. So what makes you a successful woman today?
Well, the fact that I'm a woman first. I mean, I think again we bring something different to the table, and we bring we're all mostly in a men's world, so we interact with men all the time, and I think we bring that sensitivity, that sensibility, that it's not to be ignored. We're built that way as women anyway, so we don't have to try to be a tough guy or anything. That gives us a different approach to things. It gives us another perspective. We solve problems a different way because of that sensibility that we have as women. What makes me a successful woman is I think it's a drive. It's believing in myself. It's I think the independence and I've acquired over the years through work and also living in the US, it makes you believe more in yourself. It gives you a greater inner power. Definitely, my daughter, also, gives me power, and I think I've met amazing women along the way, also men and women. But I think I think we all need those role models, especially professionally, that that we identify to, that kind of elevate us to where we want to be. So I think it's I think I've had a few of those women. And I think we all, and that's another advice that I have for young women who start and either don't know what they want to do, or I always say, look for a woman in your life or in your entourage, in your work, also that will give you that, will show you a place where you might want to be. For me, there was a couple of women that I worked for in the last 15 years that really taught me the right ethic, and showed me where I wanted to be. And I think definitely the coaching opened my eyes, because I wouldn't have made the jump to do something else, to create another area of my life, if we didn't work together. Because at the beginning, and for me, I've been thinking about it for a long time, but always felt like, it's very hard to go out of your comfort zone. It's very hard to take a risk because we're afraid of failing. I'm the first one to, felt like I've never failed. I'm not going to fail now. Because when things go well professionally, you less and less you want to take risk, because you appreciate your comfort and your little. But in the same time, there was this greater desire to do something, and I think the more I encounter obstacles, the better I feel about those obstacles, which I wasn't always in that mindset. I think obstacles were setbacks, where now they're more stones to get to the next one, which is huge. To get to that level is huge, because it gives you the peace of mind that, okay, there are some obstacles. It's not going to be easy, but I can, I can get where I want to be. It doesn't kill my drive. It doesn't kill my desire to get. And I think the exercise we did in the coaching and the homework I did really helps me more. I think it has probably affected my outlook. My outlook on things.
Yeah.
So it's definitely important to focus on that, because I think a lot of us feel like that. We feel that, if I try something and I won't succeed, I won't recover, which, and maybe also that comes with age, is that after a certain age, and I'm 42, you feel like, okay, life is about taking risk, I really need to take those risks, personally, professionally. Otherwise, I can, I can spend the rest of my life regretting not to have tried doing things,
Yeah, and this is really interesting that you are able now to talk about stepping stones when you are talking about obstacles, because I know that most of us, and I have been, in this place as well a few years ago, 9 years ago, where we just look at life and say, okay, we have our comfort, everything is set, but still there is something, missing, or something that it's uncomfortable in our life, meaning that we want to do something more, we don't know exactly what it is, we cannot, pinpoint what exactly we would like to do, but at the same time, if we don't step out of our comfort zone, we can, like you said, live with regrets and live in fear that we will fail. And actually failure, it's what has made us. I am pretty sure that you have some failure that you consider as failure in the past that today bring you knowledge, bring you the experience, bring you just a different outlook on life that helps you to address situation a lot better in your personal life and at work. So which is really important, I think, for women of our age, past 30, 35. I am seeing a lot of women that are trying to refocus on themselves, because for many years they have played the roles that you talked about earlier, where we have to be the best at everything, and we just forget about ourselves. And one day we just wake up and we say, okay, what do I want to do for the rest of my life? And when you look ahead and you look at the 20, 30, 40 years that you still have to live, and you say, wow, I don't see myself to do this way for so long, because
Right.
it has been hard. I think that many of us thought that we had to fight and that everything was difficult, and we believed it for a long, long time. And I think that with age, we feel that we want to get more out of this environment that was created by us and by others, and we really
Yeah.
want to be able to have a peace of mind and to say, okay, I want to be able to live fully and to feel fulfilled. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think there is a big key factor for, particularly for women, is that, we tend to we blame ourselves, and I was the first one to do that when an area of our life is not going the way we want to, whether it's a divorce or whether it's a layoff. We blame ourselves first, and then we blame others, instead of looking at it as there's nobody to blame, or yes, I can blame this person for what they did to me, but I can also look at, what they did to me that was positive, and I think the for me, it's something that I really, really try to work on, is uh, all these stories that we have in life that carry us through life, giving us the excuse not to do this or not to do that because it has happened to us. So I think we all have this sort of blame, whether it's a personal story or professional story, that that slow us down, that we use, even subconsciously, we use to not go as far as we can, we could go. And I think enough blaming ourselves,
Yeah, the guilt.
enough
Yeah, the
blaming
guilt.
ourselves. And I think also men don't do that as much,
Mhm.
I don't think they tend to,
No,
blame,
definitely not. Yeah.
but yeah, I think blaming ourselves and also blaming other people, because I have examples, in my life as well of, blaming a situation, blaming an ex-husband, for, for the present, and we only, it only affects us because I slow myself down if I consider that this person has so much power on my life,
Yeah.
I blame him for so much, I'm letting him affect my life,
Mhm.
which is, I think for women, it's a really, it's a subject to really, address and work on, so we can keep going in life,
Yeah, this is, what I have, noticed since I have been working with women because previously in my life I chose to work with men exclusively for 15 years because I was burned out by a woman when I was younger. And after working 15 years with men, I have, seen that they don't have, this kind of harsh behaviors. They have other, issues, but that's true that they
Yeah,
are not uh, feeling as guilty as we are for not being perfect. They just want to be every morning, and they are
yeah,
just, going to work. They are not asking themselves if they have to play the role of the best, leader, the best, dad, the best husband. They just go with the day and the flow,
yeah,
meaning that they will, do what they want, and it's not that they don't care. I think that they have a detachment that we might want to learn a little bit, and I think that coaching help us to do that, where we look at situation for what they are, and we don't try to replay and to refocus so much on a bad situation, because I know that one of the exercise that I'm doing with some of my clients, it's that they are always replaying one of the bad event in their life, and I say,
yeah,
what was the best event of your life, and they
yeah,
tell me, and I told them, how many times did you replay this one?
yeah.
And it was
Yeah, it's funny how
like,
the good events don't impact us as much as the bad ones.
yeah, and I think that it's to protect ourselves, but at some point
Yeah,
we have to find the right balance between protecting ourselves and limiting ourselves, because protecting ourselves, it's knowing that we don't want this to happen, or we want to have a different response next time, but it doesn't mean that we have to always put our guard up, which will
yeah,
limit us to do anything.
right.
Yeah, yeah, this is really
Absolutely.
interesting. Yeah.
So
So
that's a good
now,
advice for women.
yes. So now let me ask you a question, because I know that we talk about, women having to fight in the corporate world. So do you think now, at our times, in the time that we are living now, that women can have it all without a fight?
Uh, Not without a fight, but I think it's men can't have it all without a fight either. I think it's all I think we can definitely have it all. I tend to say for women, maybe not at the same time, maybe not all at the same time, but by choice. We have
Hmm.
to make sure that it's our own choice not to have it at the same time, you know? For me as a woman, I would think there is a time for that you want to be with your children, that you want to, you want to have enjoy them when they're babies, and if you can, but it has to be a choice. It can be imposed by society or a husband or a family.
Hmm.
Um, and again, some women might feel like they can have it all, but again, by choice, if they want to raise their children and have a career at the same time. I'm in that boat. The last few years, I've juggled between raising my daughter and growing in my career. Um, it just happened, it just happened. But I think it's key now for the second half of my life. I want it to be by choice,
Hmm.
I don't want to feel that, pressure to make money because I have to support, my
Hmm.
family or whatever. I want it to be my own decision. And I think women, yeah, women can make the choice. They can make the choice. Of course, it's easier if you have the support of a great partner to choose together to have a career or not at certain point. Um, but I think it's the most important is to feel like you're in charge. You're making the decision. It's not
Hmm.
imposed to you because you're a woman to raise your kids or to have a career or not, Um, so yeah, for
Yeah.
me, for me, by choice, I would say yes, we can have it all, but let's not have it all in the same time because you know there's a time to be a mom and there is a time to be uh, an executive woman.
Hmm.
Uh, but
Yeah, and it really, depend, because you were able, to do both. Actually, you were, an executive, and you are still, mom, and you are, doing great. I think that it's about as well, you talk about, guilt earlier. It's about setting, your definition of what is, success for you, not based on what other, people are thinking, and saying, yeah, I know that you are traveling a lot. It's saying, okay, I will, be out of my home and not, with my kid for a couple of weeks, but that's okay because this is, part of what the life that I have, chosen to be is.
Yeah.
And have a conversation with your daughter, and everything seems to be working really, really well when you are able to define what is success
Yeah.
for you, and not based on other people's definition of success, or what is society telling us to have the 2 children, to have, the home, and also to be
Yeah.
able to work. And so it's a process. I think that women have to really rethink about what is success, and what is happiness for them, and to base it based on their core values, and not based on what other people are telling them, parents, or work, or a partner, or anything, like you said earlier. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think also because we're taught early on to, reach for something. And I'm the first one to have goals. I think it's great to have goals, but when we're in college, we, want to work as hard as possible to get a job. And then when we are working, we want to work as hard as possible for the next job. And I think we tend to forget to enjoy the time we're in, something that hit me. I mean, I've been focusing on that, on really enjoying the time that I work, and I'm enjoying the time with my daughter, and not feel that I'm working too much, or I'm relaxing too much, or because it's really a key to be happy, simply, but also, I read somewhere a quote that said something like, today you're the oldest you've been, but you're also the youngest you'll ever be from now on,
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
tomorrow in a week, I'm already going to be a little bit older than I am today. So, really enjoy the time you're in, the time you live in, the way you look, or, without always, wanting so much to be something else tomorrow,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's
Yeah.
financially, physically, professionally. And I think that's the key. I mean, you say, enjoy the journey and enjoy the ride, is, you have to enjoy the ride, but it's so true. I think it's so true. The consciousness, the awareness of, us today is really key to being happy. Otherwise, we're always reaching for something else.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, living in the moment, it's what has been also one of the challenge for women, because they tend to want to care about others and to plan ahead, and which is, great thing, like you said, to have, goals and to have, vision, but to be able to enjoy every moment of it and to celebrate. I know that this is something that women have a tendency to forget. It's when they have success, or when they achieve their goals, they don't celebrate, they don't take the time. They are always, seeing already ahead and saying, okay, what is my next goal? And I think that's
Right.
why so many women have this issue with self-esteem at some point, and turning 40 or 45, they just, say, yeah, but I didn't, do anything of my life. And when I go back with them to their life for the past 15 years, and we are able, to put everything, one thing after another, on a paper, they just, realize that actually they have, accomplished so much, and that they had so many goals that they have met, and they just, never stop to be able to celebrate. So they are not, building this self-confidence. When
Yeah.
men, for example, when they achieve something, you will hear about it first of all, and
Yeah.
it's not a bad thing. And they will, purchase, a nice watch, a nice car. They will,
Yeah.
go hang out with their
You're gonna stop
friends.
for a moment to recognize what they've accomplished. Yeah.
Yes, yes, and I think that,
Definitely.
the women are bringing something so different in our society, and so different in organization as well. And I am seeing that shifting a lot in organization, where women want to bring their feminine leadership, and not to lead the way that men are doing it, and I think that it's amazing. Even if they refrain the emotions, and they feel that emotions are not something that they need to bring at work, I feel that they want to do that now a lot, more, because they bring
Yeah.
another sensitivity. They bring creativity. They think out of the box as well. When men are more focusing on the bottom line, women are more focusing on what would be, the outcome moving forward, and how it impacts community, organization, but other people. And I think that we really want, to bring that. That's really why I'm doing this work with my
Yeah.
client. It's really to help them to be themselves and to realize that this power needs to be out, needs to be utilized in organization, utilized everywhere in our life.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So let me ask you about India. Let me ask you about your fantastic trip last year and what you are, trying to accomplish by setting up a group of women to go and experience what you have experienced.
Yeah, so last year I went for 2 weeks to India. Um, it was a trip that I took alone, and it was the first time I always say, a couple of things that happened to me that impacted me last year was taking a trip with my girlfriends, because early in the year we went to Bali, 3 women, and we went to Bali on a budget, so it was a cheap trip. But it was a trip we wanted to take, and we really did everything we could to take that trip. And later on in the year, I went to India by myself for 2 weeks, and that's a country that impacts you. You cannot come back the same, I would say, because it impacts you visually. It impacts you visually because of and I'm not even talking about the condition of the people or the poverty you see in India, but more on the colors and the spectacular peace that you read in people's eyes, and then this somewhat organized chaos and this gorgeous nature, and this society where animals and people live and commute and drive and walk all together. But also the impact emotionally is related to that. The impact visual, emotional is important. And I really, really enjoyed the time in the south of India, where I did meditation, yoga, and followed an Ayurveda treatment. And I think it's a perfect trip for women, because it's a great trip to share with other women, but also because women are going to be touched on so many levels, going to India. So I deeply care about, I think what women need to be conscious of: looking after each other in the workplace, of helping each other, in all areas of life. I think many times because we are in such an individualistic society, we become individualistic as well, where I think our nature, part of our true nature, is nurturing and caring. And I think we can, relearn to be that way, with each other, with other women. And I think it's really important. I think at work, relationships at work, and relationship with masculine management at work would change if women were more, were closer to each other, had each other's back. There was more solidarity in a group. It's very hard in a team of women. For instance, at my job, we're a team of wonderful women, wonderful in every way, so many different personalities, but it's really hard to get those women to come as a group, or
Yeah.
great individuals, but it's very hard to come as a group, especially in a sales force where we compete with the business, and
Mm-hmm.
and our tendency is not to care for, not to look after each other.
Mm-hmm.
So India, for me, it really it teaches so many things and so many values that we don't get to practice on a daily basis, just because the society there has so many people with very little means, uh, but they are naturally very generous, and they're not
Mm-hmm.
generous with with money, or it can be just with time or with a cup of tea. So they have this natural generosity, which for us, I feel like we have to, we need to relearn to be generous with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
sometimes it's just going to be time, or it's going to be to listen, or to help, other women, or to mentor younger women, on the workplace. I think we need to, we need to take a pause sometime and say, okay, what can I do to make this environment better for women as a group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why I decided to. I've wanted for a long time to do trips for women, because I think also when women travel, we tend to um, want to be impacted by the culture, that we uncover, that we discover, and we also tend to. Or I want at least to do trips where we make a difference in other women's life. So I think women get a lot out of that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
um, we emotionally, internally, we get a lot of doing something for other people. So that's the idea, and the trips to India. I mean, I hope to do many of them, are really catered for women. So not only there is the meditation, the yoga, the massages, and it has really a wellness aspect to the trip, but also there is great addresses for shopping. There is cooking activities. There is
Mm-hmm.
opportunity to do really. It's really geared for women,
Mm-hmm.
and to go to help other women. So there is yeah. So I'm really excited. I think I think
Yeah.
it's good to go with a group of women that you know or you don't know, but with this, what you get from each other is always very enriching.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. This is really an interesting journey that you went, through. I remember that we worked, together. We started in June and you went last year. And when you came back, you shared something with me about this, trip where you just, realized that you were not, afraid that much anymore after being and going to India. So it helps you as well to really find another, strength in yourself where you say those people are not afraid of walking in the dark and
Yeah,
without any light on the road. And
I know. They're just in a different. They are in survival mode, so their priorities are completely different from our
Mhm.
priorities. But we can definitely learn from their outlook on life,
Yeah,
because of their priorities. There are so many things they're not afraid of that we're afraid of, because
yeah.
we're in a society where we're afraid of our neighbor, we're afraid of the stranger, we're afraid of the dog.
Hmm.
um, and without realizing it, because I consider myself somebody happy, but we have built up
Yeah.
many fears,
Hmm.
uh, which going to India is really it's a it's a relief almost. It's a
Hmm.
relief, because you feel like I have nothing to fear. I live in America. Number one, I'm lucky to live in a country that's in a country like America. But so I have this power just from living where I live. It's
Hmm.
already a huge gratitude. But also there are a lot of fears we've created for ourselves that we can free ourselves from, you know?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. And it's
And I remember you taught me something that helps me all the time, because every time I came to you with a problem or an obstacle, or you always told me, what is the worst that can happen? We don't ask ourselves that. I never asked myself that question before, you know.
yes.
But until you ask yourself the question and you look at it in the worst thing that can happen, then the worst thing is never, you know, something unmanageable, you know.
Yeah.
And by looking at the worst thing, you can also project yourself in this scenario and say, okay, well, this happens. This is what I'm going to do about it, you know. And it seems very simple, but I think, at least me, I was going through life thinking, oh my God, there's this problem. How am I going to solve it? What am I going to do? Never pausing to say, well, okay, what is the worst thing that can happen?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, definitely. Time and the constraint of time that we have, created around us, because it's created. I have, been working with some people in other cultures, and they don't have this constraint of time, so they can, really pause more.
Yeah.
And this is really important. I think that the question that I have, asked you at the time, what was, the worst thing that can happen? It's just for you to be able, to sit back. And yes, you are afraid of it, but you just, build a wall. Like I said earlier, it's like, you see, the obstacle coming up, and you just, build, the wall. So you cannot, see the solution, because the wall is already there. And when you are
Right.
able to say what's the worst thing that can happen, you have, different, option in front of you. You don't have, the wall coming up. You have already the solution coming up, and you just, realize that it's not that scary. It's not that bad, or even if it's, bad, there is, already an option for you, and a way for you to
Right.
respond. Yeah.
You get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, definitely. No, but I am, using that, a lot myself, because I learned that 9 years, ago as well, when I was, going through my transition coming to the US, and where I was, laid off, and for wrong, reason, and I had, this transition, to make to the States, and not knowing how it would work. Knowing that the person in my life didn't want, to come to the US. And so you just, project yourself, and you put, the wall, and instead of to start to say, okay, what will happen if he's not coming, or what will, happen if I move to the US? And when you start, to project yourself, you find, already solution, and it helps you to
The
engage
solutions.
as well in conversation with others, because we are always afraid of speaking with others. This is what I have find the more complicated for all of us, men and women. It's that when we are facing an obstacle, we just say we don't want to talk about it, because it will be seen as a weakness or failure or something. And when you start to do what would be the worst thing that can happen, you also start to think, okay, now that I'm seeing that from another perspective, let's talk about it with someone, let's share it. And you start to really reconnect with yourself and with people as well. So this is really interesting.
Yeah, because also we're afraid to ask. I mean, I know that you taught me to go and ask for it, go and ask for what you want, which we we're afraid to ask, because we're afraid to I don't know, we're afraid of the answer. But it's a good thing to practice asking for ourselves, because especially as women, it's much easier for us to ask for somebody else and fight for somebody else, and go all the way for somebody else. But for some reason, when it comes to ourselves, we tend to deny ourselves the right to what we want, really.
Yeah.
But once you start practicing, asking, it seems easier,
Yeah, and it is, easy. It's as easy as asking. Yeah, as asking a question. I know that many of the women that I'm working with are telling me, yeah, I cannot, get, this raise, or I cannot, get, this new role, because, and I say, because what? And they say, yes, they didn't think about me. And I say, did you ask for it? And this is what is really the difference between men and women. Men will always ask. I have, worked for 15 years with men, and I never had, any issue to ask because they taught me that since I was working only with men, I knew that it was the process for them. So for me, it was the same one, and I was working exclusively with men. So it was easy for me to mimic the process. But for many women that are not, used to this, they are just telling me, no, but I should not have to ask for it. They should see it. And I say, yeah, but it's not how it works in the corporate world at this time. So if you want to be able to get, your raise or on your new role, knock to the door and ask for what you're worth, for what you want, and we will, be back, to an equal, pay, or finally get to an equal pay the day that a woman will be able to ask for what they want. I don't think that it's anymore an issue with men. I think that it's just the process in corporation are still the same, where it's a male way to grow in an organization still, and it will change one day. But since we are in organization now and we want to have more, we want, to ask for it as well. And maybe one day women all together will be able, to be at those, roles and get, exactly what they want. And they will be able, to shape the organization differently, where the criteria will not be to ask, but maybe will be, to review or to promote, people on what is really, seen, and not because people is asking. But for now, this is the process. So yeah, good. So what else would you like, to give us as an advice for teens or girls or women that are around you, and to be as successful as you are?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's, asking is also, asking for help, not feeling that we have to do it all alone, and not feeling that we're weak because we need the help of other women. And in, particularly on the workplace, I mean, I think it's for younger women to go and seek a mentor, and and attach yourself to other women and ask them to help you, and I think it's and ask them questions. I think it's important not to fear doing that, not to feel like, well, not to feel like we're weak because we're asking. And I think definitely helping. I said it before, helping each other, caring for other women. I think is not just saying it but showing it on the workplace. I think it's going to impact our future corporate world. And I think at large, even in the community, in our neighborhood, being more conscious of other women around us, and how we can help them, how we can help each other. I think it's key, because I think we're all super busy and we all go 100 miles an hour, and we all have a million things, picking up the kids, making dinner, but it's good and it feels good. That's also why I want to do Trips for Women, because it feels good just to share that with other women, to share what we go through, and see how together we can we can do it better, or less, with less pain, less difficulty. So definitely help each other out.
Yeah, definitely. Remove, all the competition that we were told we had, by being able, to share. I think would be the best advice today. It's really helping each other, and getting, getting back to our essence, because it's what we are, doing the best. So even in the corporate world, saying, yeah, I will, help somebody, instead of to seeing other, women as competition, saying, okay, I will, help, because I know that if I help her and she's growing, it will help all of us to grow. And I think that this is, the trend that I have, seen in corporation, where women are just letting go of the competition that they were taught, because it's not who we are, and they are just, getting back to their own self, and just trying to support each other. I see a lot more mentoring. I see a lot more people helping each other, and women specifically helping each other, and trying to
Yeah.
support each other. So this is wonderful. This is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Eva,
in our office, we've in our particular team, we've created which our boss, who's a woman, implemented that. But I think it's been a tremendous help to get people to work together outside of work, but at work. She's created committees, so women are in small groups who are each committee is in charge of, something. So one committee is going to be in charge of celebrating accomplishment. One committee is going to be in charge of getting us the answer we need from other departments so we can do our job more effectively. And I think it's really brilliant because it's done at work. It's in a workplace. It's somehow related to our jobs, but it really gets us to work together creatively to focus on an area of that office.
yes.
Which is it's tremendous, and it's even helping people feel that they're part of a team without having to you know to do to really work together as a team.
Mhm.
So it's really like underneath the team, it's those small groups of people. I feel it's really helping gather people together.
Yeah,
So
it's a really creative, way to
yeah,
do it. Yeah, and it's really interesting that women are doing more and more these kind of things, and I am
yeah,
really enjoying actually spending, time with women now, and really working with them, because this is, what they create. They create this new space, and they really hold the space for other, women to be able to grow, and to know each other, and to know themselves. Like you said earlier, I think that the best, gift that you can give yourself, it's really to be authentic, and to find yourself in the many roles that you have been, playing, and to finally take care of yourself, and not
yeah,
give it all away, because this is what we have a tendency to do. It's draining ourselves from all our energy to give to others, and we just
yeah,
forget about who we are, and we just, forget about giving to ourselves some love, some compassion as well, and we are really hard on ourselves. Yeah.
and yeah, and I mean, we talk about what advice we can give younger women, but when you look at that younger generation, the Generation Y, which is so different from how we grew up or how we were brought up,
Yes.
or our parents, that generation that really grew up with the social media and the over connection to everything. When you look at those young people, they don't apologize as much. You know, they
Yes.
don't You know, I
Yeah.
can't say tell younger women not to apologize, because this is more of a case of our generation. When I look at large at the younger generation that we have in the office, or that are our customers, um, they are really different. Their approach is really, really different. They
Hmm.
don't they're already easier on themselves, and they
Yes.
don't apologize as much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever the reason is, and but we can also learn from them a lot.
Exactly.
I think um, there is a lot that can be done. The mentoring that I'm going to do, for instance, with a 20 or 25-year-old, I'm going to learn as much from her as she would learn from me, because I have the experience and I have the maturity, but that generation also has some qualities that we can definitely uh, you know learn from.
Yeah, definitely. I think that, every one of us, it's at time a teacher and a student, and this is what we want, to keep in mind. I think that this is really the key in organization now, to be able to get all these people to work together, and women and men, but also young and less young people and different generation. Like you said, it's about being able to be so authentic with yourself, then that you can learn from any relationship that you create, from somebody that is young, from somebody that is older, from
Mm-hmm.
a stepping stone or an obstacle that you have in life. It's about being strong as a human being, to be able to just continue to learn and to be happy and to move forward. So yeah,
Yeah.
good. So Eva, I want to thank you for your time. I know that you are pretty busy with a unique lifestyle experience and your job as director of leisure and sales for Hilton and Waldorf Astoria. So I really appreciate that you took your time today to speak to us and to speak to all the women that will watch this Woman Empowered series. And I really wanted to thank you for being here today, and hoping to see you soon, and wishing you the best of luck for everything that you are doing now.
I lost you for a second. I don't know the.
Oh, I was, saying, goodbye, Eva, and
Okay.
thank you very much, for being with us today. And I wish you the best of luck for everything that you have been, doing.
Thank you so much, Belinda. Thank you. Great talking to you.
Great talking to you too. Bye bye.
Bye.